matters are fast-moving.
Unlike other big rallies,
Earlier at about 7 a.m.
Welcome to hashtag PHVote 2013.
Today on Rappler, Hong Kong rejects Manila's apology over the 2010 hostage crisis, saying it wants all 4 of its demands granted. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry says U.S. spying has gone too far in some cases. And activist group Anonymous hacks a Singapore newspaper website and threatens more cyber attacks.
Hello, I'm Ai Makaraig, sitting in for Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. The Hong Kong government declines Manila's apology over the 2010 hostage crisis that killed 8 tourists. Hong Kong wants Manila to grant all 4 of its demands: a formal apology, compensation for the victims, holding officials accountable for the quote mishandling of the incident, and ensuring the safety of tourists. On Thursday, Hong Kong Security Bureau denies the claim of Manila Councilor Bernardito Ang that Hong Kong accepted Manila's apology. Ang flew to Hong Kong after the Manila City Council made an apology through a resolution. On Thursday evening, Hong Kong Security Bureau, representatives of the victims' families, and Ang released a joint statement that the parties agreed to, quote, exchange further views to find a solution. Hong Kong lawmaker James Toh Kun Sun says compensation is one of the most contentious issues in the negotiations. The South China Morning Post reports Ang proposed compensation worth 7.8 million Hong Kong dollars or 43.7 million pesos. Manila Vice Mayor Isko Moreno reportedly earlier promised a higher amount, up to 20 million Hong Kong dollars or 112 million pesos. Documents obtained by Rappler show former Manila Mayor Alfredo Lim was found administratively liable for simple neglect of duty over the crisis. But President Benigno Aquino sat on the recommendation made by the late Interior Secretary Jesse Robredo. Malacanang dismisses the decision to apologize to Hong Kong as a personal initiative on the part of Manila Mayor Joseph Estrada. Aquino says the incident was the act of one individual and does not merit an official apology. The Philippines asked the United States to investigate the death of a 38-year-old oil worker in the Gulf of Mexico, the 4th Filipino killed in the second deadliest U.S. industry. The Philippine Embassy in the United States says Ambassador Jose Cuisia Jr. makes the request to the U.S. Interior Department's Bureau of Safety and Environmental Enforcement, or BSEE. Peter George Voces died Sunday while working on an oil platform. He fell to his death after an empty storage tank knocked him off. His death came less than a year after 3 Filipinos who also worked in the Gulf of Mexico died after an explosion on an oil platform. Statistics show that workers like him face a 15.6% risk of dying on the job. Typhoon Vicente international name Crossa moves away from the Philippines, causing no major damage after it made landfall in Cagayan Thursday. In its 5 p.m. bulletin, State Weather Bureau Pag-asa says the typhoon is now outside the Philippine area of responsibility. All storm warning signals have been lowered. Disaster management officials are still assessing the damage caused by the typhoon. One fisherman was reported missing in Abra province, while the national road from Apari to Tugigaraw was temporarily impassable because of fallen trees. A number of electrical posts also fell down, causing power outages. In the middle of tensions between the U.S. and its allies in Europe over spying allegations, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry says for the first time that in some cases, U.S. spying has gone too far. Speaking to a London conference, Kerry says innocent people are not being abused in the U.S. surveillance operations to gather information. But he adds, in some cases, I acknowledge that some of these actions have reached too far. Kerry says the U.S. government is now doing a thorough review of surveillance practices. Kerry's remarks come in response to a question addressed to both him and British Foreign Secretary William Hague about government surveillance. Recent allegations of widespread spying by the National Security Agency in countries like France, Germany, and Spain sparked a major rift in transatlantic ties. Activist group Anonymous hacks a Singapore newspaper website and threatens wider cyber attacks over internet freedom. The group opposes a new rule requiring news websites to obtain licenses. The attackers, using the name Messiah, took over the blog of a Straits Times journalist, saying she distorted the group's words in a report about the group's plan to, quote, wage war on the Singapore government to protest the rules. The Straits Times publisher says, quote, we have made a police report and the police are investigating. China's top security official names an Islamic group as a behind-the-scenes supporter of Monday's car crash in Beijing's Tiananmen Square. China says the East Turkestan Islamic Movement, or ETIM, supported what it calls a terrorist attack at the symbolic heart of the Chinese state. On Monday, a sports utility vehicle crashed in Tiananmen Square, killing 2 tourists and injuring dozens. The 3 people in the car also died. Beijing police say the vehicle had a license plate from Xinjiang, the far western region where China's mostly Muslim Uyghur minority is concentrated. ETIM is known as a militant Islamic separatist organization that seeks an independent state in Xinjiang. Let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 5. Lonely Planet reveals its top travel destinations for 2014. In its Best in Travel guide published Tuesday, Lonely Planet rates destinations based on their topicality, excitement, and that special X factor. Brazil, Antarctica, and Scotland top the list of best destinations. In cities, Paris emerges number 1, while Sikkim in India is voted the best region for 2014. The Philippines gets a nod too. Palawan makes it to the list of best value travel destinations thanks to its jungle rivers, limestone cliffs, and beaches. At number 6, Facebook may expand the scope of its data collection, and that may include tracking how long a user's cursor hovers on screen. The Wall Street Journal reports Facebook's analytics chief Ken Rudin says the site is testing technology that can collect data on user interactions with a social network, like whether the newsfeed is in a viewable area or how long you spend on a page. Rudin says Facebook may use the information for product development for targeted advertising, among other purposes. WSJ reports the tests are ongoing and the social network will know within months if it will incorporate the data collection system into the site. And at number 10, the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration relaxes rules banning passengers from using electronic devices on planes. The FAA will allow passengers to use their devices during takeoffs and landings on planes with systems that protect against electronic interference. This means passengers can read, listen to music, and play games, but cell phone calls are still prohibited. For the full top 10, visit Rappler.com's The Wrap. The PBA Rookie Camp marks the beginning of the PBA draft on Sunday and the start of a brand new season for Asia's first play-for-pay basketball league. Jane Brasher reports.
For 85 young basketball players, the road to their PBA dreams start here, inside the Gatorade Hoop Center at Shaw Boulevard. The rookie hopefuls went through a series of physical tests and workouts to measure their biometrics. The activities included pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups, and a vertical leap test. The rookies were also measured for their weight, height, and wingspan. All the teams are expected to bid for Ateneo big man Greg Slaughter.
Well, it's my first year in the PBA, so hopefully, I learned the ropes and can adapt pretty quickly. Oh yeah, I feel ready. I'm confident in myself. I can't wait to play.
Reigning UAAP MVP Terrence Romeo is confident that he's ready for the big league. He is skipping his last year of college basketball.
Napansin ko parang ngayon yung right time kasi parang yung maganda yung naipakita ko sa UAP tapos hindi ko na alam kung ano yung ipapakita ko pa next year. So ngayon na lang ako pinipilit ko pang mag-improve pa.
At the PBA Rookie Camp, the rookies get to show off in front of the PBA coaches. They proved that they have what it takes to play for Asia's first play-for-pay league. 27-year-old Darwin Cordero came all the way from Zamboanga to realize his dream.
Underrated po ako. Siyempre, galing probinsya, hindi po kilala. Hindi po ako naglaro ng UAP or NC. So, wala po pero siguro naman kaya ko na lang po makipagsabayan.
There are 85 hopefuls, but only 10 teams in the PBA. Getting drafted is the first step in the journey to basketball stardom. Jane Brasher, Rappler, Manila.
Every story on Rappler has a mood meter which gives you 8 emotions to choose from. Click how you feel and your vote comes down to the mood navigator in the middle of the front page, which crowdsources the mood of the day. It also gives you the top 10 stories which affected our readers the most emotionally. In today's mood navigator, already 2 stories from today made it here. Hong Kong to Manila XX, Sorry Not Enough, has 56% of readers feeling annoyed, 25% angry. From technology, Facebook to track cursor on screen, 50% annoyed as well. But still, the dominant mood of the week is happy. And of course, the big story that made headlines, Aquino Defense Disbursement Acceleration Program, has 56% of people feeling happy, but you also see some 36% angry. It all contributes to the mood of the day. Today, most people are happy. That's Rappler's newscast for today, Friday, November 1st, 2013. Visit Rappler.com and watch your newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter and help us crowdsource the mood of the day. I'm Ayi Makaraig, and as we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today. Today, November 1st, Filipinos all over the country visit cemeteries to remember their departed loved ones. We leave you with images of today's Undas commemoration.